Hello and welcome. My name's Chris Cadden with Australia's Mining Monthly and Mining Magazine, and we're here at the Future of Mining Asia. Joining me today is Afzal Mohsin, who is Chief Administrative and Sustainability Officer with Vale. Afzal, thanks for joining us and taking the time for a chat. I wanted to ask you about the social license or social engagement piece for a start. A common problem for a lot of groups, but how officially does Vale approach that particular challenge? And maybe if you can use your Malaysian experience as a bit of a case study.
First and foremost, thank you very much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here. Now, the mining industry as a whole certainly has a unique set of challenges. Right? We mine minerals that are required or essential for daily life, but at the same time, the mining industry does have some reputational challenges. Right? What we've done a lot in Malaysia really is grassroots engagement. We try to make sure that we focus on impact initiatives, or the impact of our initiatives, if you will, to be able to ensure that we're delivering lasting commitment or a lasting effect on the community. How do we do this? We don't necessarily go out and start publicizing the work that we do, right? What we want to be able to do is focus on the work on the ground. Now that's key. We engage with the local communities. We try to better understand what their needs are, what are their specific challenges, and we build our social programs around local community needs. Certainly, we may not necessarily be building our profile so quickly, right? It might take a couple of years. But I think for us, really building that level of trust is important, right? Because we want the local community to really be able to be partners, to have a sense of ownership, to be excited about the progress that they're seeing, right? So I'll give you an example. One of the things that we did in our 2021 community development program launch, which costs us about $4 million US dollars, correction, is we spoke to dozens of NGOs, government agencies, local community leaders, human rights organizations, right? Because we wanted to really be able to get a sense of what the community really needed. I think there needs to be a degree of humility in our approach, and to be able to understand that we really don't know everything, and we can learn through this partnership that we build with the community. This November, Vale Malaysia specifically will be celebrating its 10th anniversary. And I'm in a position where I'm so excited about the future prospects, because I've seen the community sort of shift their perception of us, right? From being skeptical to really being supporters of our business in Manjung. And in addition to that, every time something happens or there's something going on in the community, we're always getting calls and feedback. We actually measure our reputation on an annual basis independently, right? And since 2021, we've actually been able to maintain an excellent score, which is one of the highest in the Vale group. So I think one of the keys really is engagement, listening, not forming opinions, but really trying to understand local challenges and then developing strategies that will really sort of support the community.
Our experience with social license or engagement, and I think probably the reputational issue that you've raised, that we've heard so far on a number of occasions this morning at the conference, we find that it intensifies, if that's the right word, the younger the age group. So there's a little bit more acceptance in the older generations. Millennials are slightly more hostile towards mining, and then you can get some very critical views among a greater volume of people with that Gen Z. How did you find when you did the engagement, when you got that direct feedback, did you see those kind of trends, and do you need to approach your engagement differently with younger generations?
I believe so. We receive a lot of feedback from all of the generations, right? All of the various generations. But I think the Gen Z are perhaps the most connected generation of all, right? I think when we were, I'm assuming we're peers, right?
Students,
And we used to go to the library, pull out volumes of textbooks, go through them. I think it's the dust from these textbooks that gave me my my asthma. But today, information is at a click of a button. It's at their fingertips. What they do with this information is key. We need to be able to ensure that we understand their thought process and what they're doing with this information. Now, again, it went back down to engagement, right? We were listening to the community, we were listening to their needs. One of the things that we found was that there was an opportunity for us to address equity in education, right? We found that a lot of the younger generation maybe did not necessarily have sufficient access to equitable education. And education is key, right? Being a son of a single mother who, didn't necessarily have everything given to me, I sort of understood that that need on a very personal level. So what we started doing was we started off with simple things like tuition classes for the underprivileged, and that very quickly developed into a scholarship program that we offered to high performing children from low income families. Right, that was sort of the priority. We wanted to be able to give families from low income, or rather children from low income families, and a real opportunity for them to change their lives, and ultimately to be able to change the community as well, because they will come back, potentially come back and work for us and contribute to the community as well. So that was one of the things that we started off with. We also started other programs such as art classes, public speaking competitions, and I think some of these things were really done to I suppose, foster the sort of imagination and to empower the local youth, right? To get them to start thinking about real life problems and to share their thoughts, their views, and their vision. We also, of course, developed resume workshops to be able to support people, or rather the local community, to be able to get better jobs or more higher profile jobs. And we also looked at some empowerment or economic empowerment workshops, right, for the youth as well, right, particularly in how they would market their products and services through social media. And what we wanted to be able to do was build a sort of robust framework that really supported the local community and the youth particularly, right? And what's really interesting is at the end of all of our programs, we actually raise questions, right? We have questionnaires to sort of really understand the impact of what we're doing. And we actually not just do it at that point in time, but we do it 6 months down the road, or 1 year down the road, sorry. And we want to be able to see, their progress. And what's really amazing is that we found that a lot of the youth, the Gen Zs, and even the millennials for that matter, right, are seeing huge increases in their livelihoods, right? These workshops and programs are really helping them generate more income for themselves and for their families, and ultimately contributing to the community at large. And this is something that gives us a lot of pride, really.
How important are forums like Future of Mining Asia and these platforms to discuss how we engage and our success rates and how we're measuring engagement? How important is that to actually making real progress with not only engaging with the younger generations, but across communities?
So I think if I were to go back to that first question, I sort of touched a little bit upon how we don't really sort of promote what we're doing. And if we are going to, it's going to be something that's really substantial and something that will really make a difference. We've not spoken on a regional platform like this since our inception. This is the first time. And it's because we actually see tangible results in what we're doing. And what we hope to be able to do is to encourage other miners and other businesses to be able to think differently. Leadership is key, but ensuring that there is a sustainable agenda in our business making decisions, or business decision making, is key, right? And it really comes right from the top. And I think if we really sort of look at it holistically and build strategies, with sustainability in mind, it really, you don't just see profit for businesses. You will really start seeing, the benefit being spread across communities and countries as well.
Afzal, I'm conscious that we are only at about 1:30, quarter to 2 on day one, but I'm interested in how you found the event so far. Any highlights for me? The beef rendang was an absolute sensation. Anything that stood out for you in terms of presentations you've heard, conversations you've had, opinions you've shared or disagreed with that you think you might take away as key learnings?
Well, certainly it's only been half a day, but it has been a really, really interesting experience. One of the things I really enjoyed was the session on automation and industry, IR 5.0. I think we need to be able to understand that, be it AI, Internet of Things, the world is changing. We need to be able to keep up, right? And I think the mining industry particularly needs to really understand that technology will not only help it be more efficient or more productive, it'll also help it be more safe, more reliable. And we're giving opportunities to people to be, to the community and our employees as well, to be able to learn, advance themselves as we progress into a sort of more high-tech environment. I believe that more conversations like this, and there was a really interesting question by the audience that really wanted to understand the return on investment, right? Now, I wasn't presenting that particular session, and I couldn't necessarily comment on behalf of the presenter, but as a company that has introduced automation and autonomous technology, I can really say that it definitely brings huge returns in terms of value, in terms of quality, consistency, right? And I think this is really the way the world is going and the way the industry is going. So I think if we can really focus a lot more on automation and sort of better understanding the technology and how it will really support our businesses, this is going to be key for the future.
Afzal, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.